From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
Kamala, you're fired!
I say, bring it on.
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America. Welcome to the program. You're watching Firstpost America. I'm Eric Ham, and we're live in a rainy Washington, D.C. Coming up on the program, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris clash over guns, and Hurricane Helene makes landfall. We'll bring you all the latest on those stories and more. But first, a look at the latest headlines. Yemen-based Houthis fire a ballistic missile at Israel as sirens sound across Tel Aviv. Israel says the missile was intercepted with no injuries reported. U.S. defense officials say China covered up the sinking of its nuclear-powered submarine. Reports of the incident first emerged earlier this year in June. New York City Mayor Eric Adams faces 5 counts of criminal offenses, including bribery and soliciting illegal foreign donations. He denies any wrongdoings as calls for his resignation continues to grow. The West African nation of Benin arrests former sports minister and a military commander for plotting a coup against President Patrice Talon. The suspects allegedly paid $2.5 million to the president's security detail to overthrow the leader. And a gold mine collapse kills at least 15 in Indonesia's West Sumatra province. Officials say heavy rain and landslides caused the roof of the mine to sink and collapse. We began in the United States, where President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have announced an executive order to crack down on new technologies that make guns easier to obtain and fire. This comes at a time when Kamala Harris and Donald Trump have been clashing over the issue of gun ownership on the campaign trail.
I need your help in fighting and standing up to the gun lobby, gun manufacturers, the politicians who oppose common sense gun legislation. Because whether you're a Democrat or Republican or Independent, we all want our families to be safe. We drop families off at the house of worship or a child at a mall or a movie theater or a school. We don't have to worry about whether that's the last time we'll see them. I mean, think about it. Think about it.
The new legislation will clamp down on emerging firearm threats, including unserialized 3D printed guns and machine gun conversion devices. The order also directs federal agencies to improve school-based active shooter drills to save lives of children.
I believe the right to be safe is a civil right. And that the people of America have a right, then, to live, work, worship, and learn without fear of violence, including gun violence. And yet, our nation is experiencing an epidemic of gun violence.
The vice president has noted several times that she is, in fact, a gun owner and doesn't want to take away guns from responsible firearm owners.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
my staff will deal with that later.
But you have been a gun owner for a while.
Yes, I have.
The Democratic presidential candidate has even expressed her support for the Second Amendment, which protects the gun rights of citizens. Still, Harris backs restrictions on assault weapons, as well as supports universal background checks and safe storage laws.
Let us all agree, it does not have to be this way. We know we have in our possession, we know how to stop these tragedies. And it is a false choice to suggest you are either in favor of the Second Amendment or you want to take everyone's guns away. I am in favor of the Second Amendment, and I believe we need to reinstate the assault weapons ban.
However, Donald Trump has repeatedly accused Kamala Harris of lying about her stance on gun control, claiming without evidence that she wants to take away guns.
You know, she's always said, we will confiscate all guns. Now she's saying, oh, no, guns I think they're wonderful, right? Doesn't work that way. They're going to confiscate your guns. I'm the one that's protecting it. We got the total endorsement of every gun group, including the NRA.
Now, gun control remains one of the most controversial issues in American politics. Already, the U.S. has seen 50 school shootings this year, including the most recent attack at a school in Georgia, which took the lives of 2 students and 2 teachers and left 9 others wounded. According to the Gun Violence Archive, more than 400 mass shootings have already taken place in the United States so far this year. That's an average of nearly 2 mass shootings every single day. Staying in the United States, the United Kingdom's Prime Minister Keir Starmer met former President Donald Trump in New York on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly on Thursday. The 2 leaders were joined by Britain's Foreign Secretary David Lammy in a meeting that lasted more than 2 hours and included a private dinner. The British Prime Minister said the meeting was meant to establish good relations between him and Donald Trump, stating that they had never met before. Addressing the media, Donald Trump said he congratulated Prime Minister Starmer on his win, but then talked about Britain's controversial far-right leader, Nigel Farage.
But I actually think he's very nice. I think he ran a great race. He did very well. Well, I think Nigel is great. I mean, I've known him for a long time. He had a great election, too. He picked up a lot of seats, more seats than he was allowed to have, actually. They acknowledge that he won, but for some reason you have a very strange system over there.
Now, it's worth noting that Secretary Lammy was also present throughout the dinner. The British secretary has previously called Donald Trump a racist, a neo-Nazi, and a sympathizing sociopath. Addressing his former comments, Secretary Lammy said he would work with Donald Trump and his administration if they win the election in November. Now, despite meeting the Republican presidential candidate, Prime Minister Starmer and Secretary Lammy were unable to meet Vice President Kamala Harris due to conflicting schedules. The Democratic presidential candidate was unable to travel to New York as she met Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House. Drawing a stark contrast from her rival Donald Trump, Vice President Harris reaffirmed more support for Ukraine. She also called out Donald Trump for parroting Vladimir Putin's talking points, demanding Ukraine cede a sovereign territory to Russia in order to achieve a ceasefire.
As I have made clear on our 6 previous meetings and throughout Putin's brutal aggression and war against Ukraine, my support for the people of Ukraine is unwavering. I've been proud to stand with Ukraine. Nothing about the end of this war can be decided without Ukraine. However, in candor, I share with you, Mr. President, there are some in my country who would instead force Ukraine to give up large parts of its sovereign territory, who would demand that Ukraine accept neutrality and would require Ukraine to forego security relationships with other nations. These proposals are the same of those of Putin. And let us be clear, they are not proposals for peace. Instead, they are proposals for surrender, which is dangerous and unacceptable.
With the U.S. election just around the corner, world leaders are eager to meet both the Democratic and Republican presidential candidates in a bid to cement ties early, as America braces for what could be the most consequential U.S. presidential election this century. And staying with U.S. presidential politics, former First Lady Melania Trump appeared in a rare television interview after more than 2 years. Ending separation rumors, she called her husband a family man and described their relationship as nice and beautiful. The former First Lady also said that Donald Trump surviving the 2 assassination attempts was a miracle. She also slammed Vice President Kamala Harris for calling her husband a threat to American democracy. Here's more from the former First Lady's interview.
And it wasn't her fault.
Former First Lady Melania Trump has largely remained absent from her husband, Donald Trump's campaign trail. Whether it's being MIA from rallies, skipping his primary night victory parties, or his provocative social media posts, the ex-fashion model is never seen or mentioned anywhere near the ex-president. However, with just 38 days left for one of history's tightest presidential elections, the intensely private public personality has finally made an appearance on television after more than 2 years. Melania Trump recently sat down for an interview to promote her deeply personal self-titled memoir. Though all she talked about was her relationship with Donald Trump, their family life, and how Vice President Kamala Harris's win would be a disaster for America. Putting an end to separation rumors, Melania Trump described her husband as a family man who's very special and caring. The former lady said Donald Trump loves to be a DJ and she loves his humor, personality and kindness. When asked about the 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life, Melania Trump called her husband's survival a miracle.
I think both of the events, they were really miracles if you really think about it. The July 13th, it was a miracle like that much, and he could not be with us.
The former First Lady, who mostly stays silent about American politics, slammed the media and the Democratic Party for branding her husband as a threat to democracy.
And is it really shocking that all this egregious violence goes against my husband, especially that we hear the leaders from the opposition party and mainstream media branding him as a threat to democracy, calling him vile names? They're only fueling a toxic atmosphere and giving power all of these people that want to do harm to him. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. The country needs to unite.
She also seemed to be more in tune with the ins and outs of the presidential race and criticized the Biden-Harris administration for economic, foreign, and immigration policies.
Well, how I see it is the record speaks for itself. The country is suffering. People are not able to buy usual necessities for their families. We have wars going on around the world. Soldiers are dying. They were dying under this administration because of weak leadership. The border is open and dangerous. A lot of fentanyl is coming over, killing our youth. It's very hard to see. And an economy, it's really not great.
Melania Trump's TV interview was light on the details of her book and heavy on Donald Trump's campaign. Even Donald Trump said that he doesn't know the specifics of what is written about him in the book.
Go out and get a book. She just wrote a book. I hope she said good things about, I don't know, I didn't. So busy. She just wrote a book called Melania. Go out and buy it. It's great. And if she says bad things about me, I'll call you all up and I'll say, don't buy it. Get rid of it.
The memoir titled Melania is scheduled to release on the 8th of October, when American voters will be super close to making up their minds and choosing their next president.
And while a political storm brews across the United States, an actual storm is battering the southern part of the country. Hurricane Helene made landfall as a dangerous Category 4 storm in Florida's Big Bend area. The National Hurricane Center warned the catastrophic storm brings winds reaching 130 miles per hour, along with torrential rain. After the storm made landfall around 11 p.m. Eastern Time, more than 1.3 million customers in Florida lost power, with over 170,000 affected in Georgia. At least 3 people have already died, including 1 in Tampa and 2 in Wheeler County, Georgia. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis urged residents to seek higher ground, warning of life-threatening conditions.
So this is a big storm. It's a powerful Category 4 storm. But it's also just very large, and it's going to have impacts are being felt, have been felt, and will continue to be felt far and wide. And so when Floridians wake up tomorrow morning, we're going to be waking up to a state where very likely there's been additional loss of life, and certainly there's going to be loss of property. You're going to have people that are going to lose their homes because of this storm.
Now, as Hurricane Helene barreled across Florida, airports in Tampa and Tallahassee were ordered to halt operations, and over 1,300 flights were canceled. Both President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris declared states of emergency as evacuation orders were issued in several states.
Expecting a catastrophic storm. Winds and flooding throughout the southeast, starting in Florida right now. Everyone needs to take it seriously, extremely seriously. The potential storm surge is well beyond the immediate path of the hurricane. Could be significant and deadly. You know, for you and your family's sake, I urge everyone in and near the path of the hurricane to listen to local officials and follow evacuation orders when told to do so.
Experts are warning that Helene's impact will spread beyond Florida, affecting Georgia, the Carolinas, and Virginia, where emergency declarations have also been made.
Declared a state of emergency, as you know, for all 159 counties on Tuesday, giving emergency management teams plenty of time to prepare and also deployed resources where needed ahead of this storm.
It is unprecedented, which is why I decided to come, because I know that there has been storms that have come through, but not the actual hurricane. You had the outer bands, the water and all that, but since you're saying the actual hurricane is going to go through, that's why I decided I need to get out there.
Hurricane Helene, which is forecast to be one of the largest storms in years to hit the region, has also affected the race for the White House. Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance canceled 2 events in Georgia that were planned for Thursday. According to the National Hurricane Center, Helene is expected to turn northwest and slow down over the Tennessee Valley on Friday and Saturday. But meteorologists warn that high sea surface temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico could fuel the hurricane's strength, meaning the storm could last for a while, wreaking havoc through large swaths of the country. And finally, in a world where love knows no bounds, grand gestures have reached new heights. A Dubai-based businessman took romance to an extreme level when he bought his wife a private island, all because she could wear a bikini in total privacy. This act has captured the world's attention and has garnered over 2.4 million views in less than a week. Here's more on this modern-day love story.
When we think of love and happy relationships, it's often the big occasions and grand gestures that come to mind. And history knows it, that when a man is in love, he will go all out to express it, even if it means building an iconic wonder like the Taj Mahal. But fast forward to the 21st century, where love stories have gotten wild, and now every couple's love expression comes with a modern twist. Meet Jamal Al Nadak, Dubai's very own modern Shah Jahan, and his grand gesture is not some marble mausoleum, but a private island, just so his wife could wear a bikini without a care in the world. Yes, you heard that right. Jamal splashed a whopping $50 million on a remote island in Asia simply to give his wife Sudhi the ultimate beach day, complete with privacy and peace. Sudhi, who originally hails from the UK and is now living in Dubai, unveiled this jaw-dropping surprise on Instagram with a video that's become a viral sensation. The reel begins with a happy couple posing, then cuts to Jamal, who looks calm and collected in his private jet, flying over to their new sun-soaked paradise. The text overlay reads, POV, you wanted to wear a bikini, so your millionaire husband bought you an island. Casual, right? But wait, this isn't the Dubai-based businessman's first grand romantic move. This guy has a track record for spoiling his wife like she's the ultimate royalty. In a previous post, Sudhi revealed that her doting husband had flown to Italy just to customize a Ferrari for her. And if that wasn't enough, he added a sparkling diamond ring worth $956,000 to the shopping spree. Luxury, check. Love, double check. But their life of indulgence doesn't stop there. The couple, married for 3 years, have been hitting the headlines even for their lavish dinner dates. A quiet evening out for them means spending $1,000 or more just on a meal. But this island for sure remains the highlight. According to Sudhi, it wasn't just a spontaneous splurge. The couple had been thinking about the investment for a while. But ultimately, it came down to one simple reason. Jamal wanted her to feel safe while sunbathing in her bikini. So naturally, buying an island seemed like the most logical solution. Their Instagram post has sent the internet spiraling, racking up millions of views as people debate the most luxurious reason ever to own an island is bikini privacy. And so, as Jamal joins the ranks of history's greatest romantics, he made sure his love story isn't just written in stone, but on bonded paper, guarded by sand and crystal clear waters.
That's our show for today. We certainly thank you for tuning in all week. We hope you have a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing you right back here next week. Have a great weekend. From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
Kamala, you're fired!
I say, bring it on.
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.